I get up every morning and it's going to be a great day. You never know when it's going to be over. So I refuse to have a bad day. And that is a quote by Paul Henderson. So thank you. Welcome to the Profitable Photographer. I am Lucy Dumas. And if you want to see more about me, lucydumascoaching.com, and it's Lucy with an I. It's a place that you can click on and get a little quick 20-minute conversation if you ever want to just ask me something and get a little support. No big whoop. Okay, so today's guest, it's his second time on the show, and people loved him so much that I said, let's do it again, Johl. So Johl, I'm sorry, Dunn, Dunn. He is a successful wedding and portrait photography business owner that was in business for 20 years, and now he is shifting to helping other photographers so that we can grow our passion to a fulfilling and exciting, thriving business. And who doesn't need that? He was the Creative Asia Wedding Photographer of the Year in 2011, runner-up for Victorian Photographer of the Year, and that is maybe everyone else knows this, but I didn't. He's in Australia, and that's a state in Australia. Is that right, Johl?
Yes, correct.
Yes, yes. So
The best one.
now he's doing the full-time mindset and business coaching to help people build highly profitable businesses and a marketing engine, as well as rewiring your subconscious, because that is so important. So let me see if there's anything more on that. So he says it's a very holistic approach to reduce stress, achieve balance, achieve enhance fulfillment, and bring about wild business success. That sounds fun. So welcome, Johl. Thank you
Yeah.
for being on my show.
Thanks for having
Sure.
yeah, thanks for
So,
having me back.
so how are you doing down there?
Great. Yeah, I love that quote you started with. That's a really powerful way to look at life.
Yeah.
And it's so true, right? It's we don't know how long we've got, so it is about and it's having that awareness around that is really powerful just to bring everything back into perspective. So I love that quote that you
Yeah.
started with.
Thank you. I did too. Yeah. As years tick by and people drop off the scene, I've been around 40 some years, uh, keeping in mind that I could have another 35 or I could have no more is helpful for me to choose how I live my life every day. So,
And I
how did you, just in a nutshell, how did you get into photography? Is there any fun stories?
yeah. Well, I my earliest memories was my dad had an old 8mm video camera and he used to video us when we were in back in the early 80s when we were kids. And then he was a bit of a hobbyist, I guess you could say. And he had some cameras lying around. And I remember picking one up, a film camera, and taking it to a Scouts or Cubs, I think it was called back then, which is, I don't know what they've got over there, like girl guides, but for boys.
Yeah, it starts
And
with
anyway, I
Cub
was taking
Scouts,
photos.
starts with
Yeah.
Cub Scouts, and then Boy Scouts, and now it's just called Scouts, and boys and girls can join it. So,
Okay, yeah. So it was Cubs back in the day, and I took a camera there and photographed. I think we had a like an outing, and I just fell in love with the process of being able to capture, memories and things, and it sort of took off from there. And I pretty much knew I wanted to be a photographer when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. So I was quite lucky, I guess, in that case, and I never really wavered from it. And I thought I'd be doing it forever. Like if you had asked me 10 years ago or told me that I'd be coaching, I would have laughed at you. So it's funny how things change, but we did it, I did it for 22 years in business and then started into coaching and just fell in love with that, and really enjoying it. Yeah.
so what made that transition for you? How did you decide, or, what shifted?
Well, I don't think I decided. I think for me, it's always I've always just followed what I'm passionate about, and I started doing weddings, and I was very passionate about weddings, and then we had our first child, and I sort of started falling out of love with weddings because of the time commitments and time away from family, and when I'm not passionate about something, I find it very hard to do. So I shifted to portraits, and that became the new, passion. And people say it's the same thing, it's photography, but anyone who's photographed weddings and portraits knows it's totally different. And
Mhm.
I think it's also the challenge of creating a new business, new marketing, new sales, new systems, and I really love that side of it. And then I just fell into coaching really. People just started friends that were photographers like, how did you do that? How are you getting that many clients? And they're just asking questions. So I'd coach them and for free, just give them advice and marketing strategies and stuff. And then I thought, well, maybe I could turn this into something. So I did a coaching course and degree and a neuro-linguistics programming training. And then I always thought it might be just a side hustle, just something to do on the side. And then it took over. Um, and I started to almost resent having to go and do photo shoots when I could have been coaching. So that's when I knew it was time to release the photography business and just do the coaching. And yeah, haven't looked back. I love it. I love sort of helping photographers not have to go through all the stress and stuff I went through to achieve success. Like, I can give it to them quickly and show them particularly the mindset strategies around running a business because we come in as creatives, but we have no idea about the business side of it. And that's what sort of takes a lot of people's peace of mind away, I guess, in a
Right.
photography business.
Right. Yeah, I totally relate to what you're talking about. It was a similar kind of thing. I made a decision to become a coach, but I didn't ever decide not to be doing photography. Um, it's just what you feed is what grows, and yeah, yeah. So, and I lost my little actual thought that I had in there. Sometimes your mouth goes while your brain
Well,
is like, what was
yeah. Well, I
what was
think
that thing I was
like what you
thinking?
feed you what you feed grows, right? 100%. Because what I found is while I was trying to do both businesses, I was moving towards the coaching and putting more time and effort into that. So that was growing. The photography was still there, and it was just doing what it always did. I had enough systems and processes and stuff in place, and it was fine. But I knew if I really wanted to grow the business or the coaching to where I wanted it to go, I had to let go of that. So I could feed more of my time and energy into it. And that's the decision I made.
Right.
Yeah. And haven't looked back.
Yeah. Okay. So my question before we launch into things about the photography and mindset and such. So when do you think if someone's thinking, gee, I wonder if I should coach, are there some questions you think they should ask themselves about, is it time or things they might want to do to be sure that they're serving the industry well and, um, giving the most? Do you have any thoughts on that?
So photographers that want to coach, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, firstly, I think you have to have been able to do it successfully yourself, whatever you want to coach in. So if that's business, have a successful business first, because you need to be able to prove over a long period of time you've done it. But same, it might be retouching, it might be shooting. Like if you can shoot at a high level and you know lighting, you can teach it, right? And
Hmm.
I've always if you, there's always like you just have to be th two or three steps ahead of who you're teaching or know two or three more levels than what they do and you can teach it. You don't have to be the best in the world. Like let's say Tony Robbins is up here, right? And let's say he's the hallmark for mindset and strategy. Like I'm down here, but there's people I'm coaching that are down here. Like they haven't thought about or understood these techniques, and I come from it from a very specific lens, pardon the pun, of creatives and photographers because we think differently,
Right.
and we don't come into business as business people. So it's really shifting that mentality from a photographer to a business owner. And that's where I think I excelled when I was doing my business and what I can teach. I also think don't do it if you're not passionate about it because like a lot of people I think come in, oh, well, maybe I'll coach thinking it's going to be a nice, easy thing to put on the side. It's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah.
lot of time. It's a lot of mental energy and you're giving a lot of yourself. So I think it's don't go into it lightly. Um, But if it's something you're passionate about, then do it. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of my favorite coaching clients that I've had for a while are now going into coaching, and it's very rewarding to imagine that they got enough foundation from what we did together and the work they put in that they feel like they're ready to lift other people up. I just love that. I especially want to encourage people to start teaching, especially in our local and state and national photography chapters, because we don't have to be the most successful in the world. Um, I was good at knowing the ages and stages of children. So when I started working for my master's photography degree, I just put a program together about this one aspect because it's something I knew because of my background babysitting and working in a children's store and my, you know, all the things. So, is there some like how did you figure out what it is that you're great at sharing with others or what's the background? I
Well, I think, yeah, I was just always so passionate about how, or curious about how the human mind works.
mm,
And like, I would started as a photographer very much so, and then I knew and realized I needed to find out this business side of it. How does that operate? And it was a totally different way of thinking. And I got coaching and I got different things. So I used to get up when we had kids. I'd get up at 5:30 in the morning, three
mm,
times a week, and do an hour and a half of study and just read books on mindset and psychology and podcasts and stuff, and really dive into that because I noticed that was the most powerful driver of success is when you can master or tame your mind to work for you, not against you. Everything else moves into place a lot easier.
mm,
Your marketing, your sales, all the strategy stuff is on the back of how you're showing up. And when I realized that, and I realized most people don't think that way. And when I was talking to other photographers, they had no idea what I was talking about. Or, it was
mm,
very, particularly when I started, like things like meditation, manifestation, frequency, energy. These things were very not taboo, but people like very woo-woo. Like,
mm,
don't talk to me about that rubbish. That doesn't make any difference. Now it's a bit more like accepted, and
mm.
there's a lot of science behind it now. And everything I teach is science backed. It's very science based. It's not spirituality, but it's science based spirituality. And that's what I'm passionate about, and that's why I think I've been successful at it. Because I don't think you can be successful at stuff you're not passionate at because it's not sustainable.
I love that
So yeah.
science-based spirituality. Love that.
Mm.
I was at a conference once where they showed uh, MRIs of different people's brains. Have you ever seen that where they studied the brains of people who meditate and
Yeah.
you know once a week and every day and not at all, and there's actually something that grows in our brains when we take the time
Yeah.
to meditate in whatever form we
Well,
do.
it's yeah, it's phenomenal. Like the science behind it is one thing, but the lived experience of it, like I can probably categorically say with meditation is the one thing that totally transformed my life and business. Like it just gave me the mental capacity and space to move out of a stress response all the time in business, which I was, very stressed and very overwhelmed and long hours and all those. It slowed
Mhm.
everything down and it allowed me to shift enough to be able to create a business that didn't involve all that. And it was meditation was the catalyst for a lot of that.
So I can almost hear a bunch of people thinking, I can't meditate. I can't sit quiet. I don't know how to do that. I can't stop my thoughts. Uh, What is your um, style, if you have a style, or what are your thoughts
Yeah. Like,
or not, or unthoughts about meditation?
well, the thing is, people have a misconception of meditation where they think I close my eyes and I just bliss out and it's amazing. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing it right. And they give up. But
Mhm.
you got to remember, I do Vedic meditation, which is with a mantra. The whole point of meditation is to stop and sit with yourself. Now, in our day and age with phones and everything, 95% of the population never have more than a few minutes with their own thoughts, and it might be in the shower, and that's it because they're on their phones, like they're on the, an ad comes on TV, they're on their phones, they're on the toilet on their phones, they're waiting for a coffee,
Mhm.
you're on your phones, right? So your mind and body are constantly moving and going, which is it's unhealthy. So
Mhm.
when we stop and do a meditation for 10 or 20 minutes, particularly at the start, it's so hard for them because they're so used to doing something. Like your body doesn't want to sit still, so you'll be fidgety. Your mind doesn't want to sit still, so it's constantly going. And when I started, I had to start with 5 minutes because I literally couldn't sit still for more than 5 minutes. Like my body would not let, and it was torture.
Mhm.
And I just moved through it. And now I can do an hour pretty comfortably if I wanted to. I usually do 20 minutes to half an hour, but when I'm doing it with clients for the first time, I just said, there's no perfect way to do it. Just do it. You sit down and do it for 5 minutes, and it doesn't matter what your thoughts are. You just come back to the mantra. But what it is, it's just showing you how automatic our thoughts are. You try to stick to a mantra or your breath, and you're constantly getting drawn out into thought because
Mhm.
it's that automatic.
Mhm.
And it's just releasing that and allowing that. And over time, you start to get that space. You start to get that time that actually feels good in meditation. But it takes the discipline of doing it consistently to get to that point. Most people can't do that.
Are
We
there
lack discipline.
are there some teachers that you've studied, books you've read, uh, recording,
Yeah,
video?
my teacher was Laura Poole, who's in Australia, and I did multiple trainings with her. I did a Rishi training, which is over a year, and I also did a meditation retreat in India with her.
How do you
It was
spell her last?
amazing.
I'm sorry. How do you spell her last
Poole,
name?
Poole, Laura Poole. Uh, I
Okay.
think her company's called Mahasoma. Uh, if yeah, you want to Google it. But and like books that aren't really meditation, but like anything from Michael Singer, like The Untethered
Yeah.
Soul or The Surrender Experiment, they're great books. They talk about how the mind works a little bit, and that talks about meditation as well. But it's hard, like a book on meditation is probably going to bore people. It's more doing it
Hmm.
and just getting a practice. And like if even if you just like Google Vedic meditation or guided meditations. There's an app called One Giant Mind, which is a free app, which is quite good to start with. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Michael Singer because as you were talking, I was thinking about his book, The Untethered Soul. So that un, soul, not mind. Um,
Unto this one, yeah.
Untethered Soul. And although I knew this, him explaining that we've got this self that's us, and then we've got this body and mind that is busy doing. And when we meditate, as we can find that witness and kind of watch, like, oh, look what she's doing today. Look what her thoughts are today. So it's like there's kind of two of us. He explains it
Yeah,
in such a great way.
he explains it really well. The way, like, and this is something that we're so unaware of. It's like I call it the you and the anti-you. Like, and
Oh,
I've heard I didn't coin that phrase. I can't
mhm,
remember where I heard it, but someone. So the anti-you is that automatic voice that just tells you constantly you can't do this, you're not good enough, don't do that. It keeps you, it's keeping you safe. And then there's the you, which is the soul you talk about, which is the thing that moves you and to where you want to go and take bold action and be authentically who you are. And when we meditate, we become way more aware of both of those voices.
mhm,
That's the instead of we just think they're one.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had
really
uh,
powerful.
my dad had dementia, and um, when I was with him once, I realized, because the physical him was fading, especially the brain part. But the person
Mm,
was the day he was born and his last day on earth in that body was the same him. It's just that the body had its journey. And that shifted a lot of my own awareness of getting in touch with that me that's always me, no matter what the rest is that happened. So, yeah. Um, somebody that I love, actually, his first might have been his first bestseller, Thich Nhat Hanh, has a little book on meditation that's just these sweet little 1 or 2 page things. Some of them are walking meditations, some of them are mantras, just these little kind of intro. He was from, was it Tibet? And do you know Thich Nhat?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
yeah. Um, anyway, so some people are thinking, well, if people listen to my show a lot, they have to be assuming there's sometimes some woo-woo showing up here. So for people, so for people that are like, yeah, but how's that going to help me in my business, Joel? I want action steps. I want to know what to do. So can you share
Yes.
how this is important?
Well, yeah, this is a, it's so, we're, you know, this is like, we're, this is a powerful thing, right? It's called slowing down to speed up. Because the first thing you say to people at meditation, I haven't got time for that. And your brain tells you, I haven't got time to meditate. I haven't got time to sit down. But when we slow down, we're way more focused and productive, and we get way more done when we're way more in tune with what we're doing and how we're doing things and how our brain is operating. And it's about not doing all the time. Because when I have clients, potential clients, and people come in, I say, what do you need help around? And 9 times out of 10, it's I need more clients, I need marketing.
Hmm.
And when we break it down, it's actually, no, that's just a symptom of the problem. Here's what we need here, this mindset work. But people are very impatient. They go, I just want this, just give me this. But I like to work on the three elements or three systems. There's the system of you, your mindset, your strategy personally as a business owner. We start there. Then when we move through to the sales system, which is the pricing, process, consultation, client journey, and the last one's the marketing. Now, if I give people marketing, it'll work, but it won't work long term if your mindset's not there. You'll fall off a cliff. You'll self-sabotage it. It's not worth it. You're just going to be busier and busier and busier. Or I can give you a great sales system, but you haven't got the mindset and the marketing to back it up. It's not going to work. You need all three. And the first one and the most important one is your system and your mindset. And so many people just aren't aware that that's the thing. They just want the quick fix.
Right, right.
They don't want to look at how they're showing up. But if you notice, very successful people get a lot done on little time.
Hmm.
And people who are struggling are so busy that they haven't got time for anything, but they're still not making money. So if you're in that category, if you're working crazy hours, but you're not making any money, that's a mindset problem.
Right.
That's firstly and foremostly. Then we move to process because there's obviously things there. But in my own business, I went from working 80 hours a week to 20 hours a week and earning way more money through the mindset stuff.
Um,
And it was so powerful for my life. Yeah.
so I have to, well, I don't have to do anything. I had to confront the fact that I was addicted to the adrenaline of always
Hmm.
being busy, that it
Yeah.
was the drug.
100%.
I, I, I'm not a drinker, as a way to escape. I used to enjoy good wine when my body could process it well, but maybe food, I'm, a little bit obviously I do love food, but I I think my dad was kind of a workaholic, and so I patterned that, and I got this rush that kept me from feeling the things
Mm.
inside that I didn't really want to feel. And I actually went to a 12-step program for work addiction. And I learned a lot of what you're talking about, that it wasn't about what I stopped doing, but what I started adding to my life, which meant I had to slow down and I had to work smarter to make time for those things that were serving me. And I found as I healed, um, some of the inner pain and things, then, like, for example, meditating became easier because I don't know if you've experienced this or with your coaching clients where there's a fear of going quiet because of
Yes.
what you might hear that you're running from. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I think I was similar. I think I was just addicted to working and being busy. And, you get adrenaline from having a business and being on the go all the time, particularly when you're doing weddings. It's very
Oh,
adrenaline
yeah.
inducing sort of
Hmm.
activities. And I would find I would get the business to a point where I could take less hours and then I'd add something else in,
Hmm.
right? And I go, oh, like I'd do the wedding business and I go, oh, now I'm going to add this in. Like we did portraits both at certain times. And then I'd got rid of weddings and slowed it down and got it really good. Oh, let's do 300 portraits a year now. So it just got busier. And then same sort of thing. I really got it to a point where I only need to work 10, 15 hours a week. And then let's do coaching. Then that became a big thing. So it was a pattern I noticed that I was addicted to being busy and it was very consciously stopping and slowing down and yeah, bringing stuff up, like bringing things up and moving through them. Um, but the interesting thing is when we get stressed or overwhelmed or too busy, the things that suffer are the things that are most important. So it's things like sleep, exercise, nutrition,
Hmm.
time for you, time for family. Like the things that are really important are the ones that suffer, right? So
Right.
we've got to bring it back to, and that's why I teach a very holistic approach. Like, all right, we've got the business here. This is the results we want to get. How's that going to fit in with our life? What are you doing with your kids? What are you doing with your wife every weekend? What are you doing here? And really setting structure around that. So, I set goals and stuff around, things I want to go for a walk every week with my wife. We set that in the
Mhm.
journal, I mean, in my diary. So that's all right, because that's important. Because otherwise you get too caught up in your business and you miss life.
Right.
And then you get 5 years, 10 years down the track and your kids are, like my kids are, I'm very conscious my kids getting older now. And like, I don't want to miss these elements and these times because it goes like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I do and how I structure my business now, because I worked, when I started, like I was working 7 days a week, probably September through to April in the busy season for weddings, like every day. Like I think there was a time, I think I went back in the diary. This is 2010 when our daughter was born. I think I worked 140 days in a row, something ridiculous, right? With no day off. So I was either doing weddings or I was working, from doing the portraits or I was doing a wedding expo. And
Mhm.
that's when it was sort of a light bulb moment. Like, I'm going to miss my daughter's life if I keep this up.
Right.
And that was the catalyst to really, and I was aware enough to notice that
Mm.
and then shift it. That's when it really shifted. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have kids, but I had to realize I was missing my own life. And
Mm,
besides, I don't know if it happens to men as much, but uh, with women in our 40s, there is a danger of burnout that physiologically we can't carry everything we've been carrying in our 30s physically, psychically, and
yeah.
I hit burnout right in that age, that era, and I had to rethink everything and restructure, and I started setting limits, and thinking about
Mm,
the like uh, my first was I'm only doing one wedding a weekend. That was a big shift. And then I'm only doing 3 out of 4, which now still seems like too much to be giving up 3/4 of your weekends, even without kids. There's things you want to do on weekends. But I think there's a fear that if you're not busy, like my little tiger always chasing me emotionally, was that I'm going to starve to death if I don't keep doing what I'm doing. Do you have some thoughts on what's the reality about
yeah.
that?
I, I think, well, it's funny you mentioned 40. I'm right on 40. I hit that burnout as well. I
Mhm.
think my theory on this is we get to a level of maturity or time where you sort of hit 40 and you almost more aware of your mortality, maybe.
Mhm.
I think like 30s, I've got plenty of time, this is fine. And then, you might have kids or different things happen. But I think in your 40s, you become more aware, I think, of Your parents are getting older, all these sorts of things.
Right.
But I think the thing that the I notice is with small business is like you sort of said, like we go to worst case scenario. Like if I don't keep this up, I'm not going to be able to eat. I'm not going to be able to pay the mortgage. We go all the way to the end, all the way to bankruptcy. When reality is we're fine, we're doing well, and part of the problem is we get to a point where we may be struggling in business. All of a sudden, it's really good. We get to like $30,000 a month, $40,000, whatever. Then it's the problem of I don't want to lose this. So we get a
Right.
new fear. It's like, oh, I'm doing it now, but now I don't want to lose it. And so this is where sabotage comes in, and you've got to be really aware of what level you're at and what the mind's doing to sabotage you. And it takes away a lot of our peace, right? So we're always into the future. We're thinking about all these worst case scenarios, and it's robbing the joy of the present moment and what you've actually
Mm.
achieved and what you actually do have. So that's why gratitude is part of what I teach. It's so powerful because it taps you back into what you actually do have, not what you could lose or what you're missing out on. But yeah, it's fascinating around that 40 mark can really bring things home.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to focus on the midlife crisis for guys, but physiologically, there's things that change, and I assume it's the same, because why would there be that thing called the midlife crisis for men if this wasn't common, for humans
Well,
anyway?
I think, yeah. Well, the other thing I'm dealing a lot with, I 90, probably 80 plus percent of my clients are women and mums mostly. And now a lot of what we're from a mindset of physiology is perimenopause and menopause is a huge factor now with women in sort of
Yeah.
more to mid to late 40s
Mhm.
onwards. And yeah, a lot of my clients are moving through that physically and mentally, and that's challenging as well. And that's, you know, un women have to go through way more shit than men do in regards to their body.
Yes.
Whether it's childbirth or menopause or different things. We got lucky really, and women like I take my hat off to women. Like I love coaching them because they're amazing to coach because they're so resilient and so powerful. But there's a lot of that sort of stuff that doesn't get talked about a lot. I think perimenopause is becoming a bigger topic now and actually being identified more, which is great. But it's still a challenge for people to go through.
Oh, big time. Yeah. When Oprah had her regular shows, we heard a lot about this, but now that she's not around, it went quiet. But I'm glad to hear in your generation it's getting talked about again because it's very real. I would walk around with my coffee cup in my hand looking for my coffee cup, and it just seemed like the brain had like some little crazy extra person in there, uh, just pulling pranks, basically.
Yeah.
And I never knew when I'd be exhausted and spend the day on the couch and all of that while continuing, especially, those of us that choose to do a business. Then there's those extra bonuses of, our time constraints, our imagination, our energy, all the things. So yeah, that's something I'm glad you're bringing up for people to look into. And also, it must be really helpful for men who take the time to understand if they have a woman going through this. It's actually potentially a really exciting, vibrant time if it's approached in the right way.
Yeah, I think yeah, you're right. Like I think if we understand it more, because there's a lot of marriage problems and divorces happen around that time because it's not understood and they're not connecting or not understanding what's going on. So I think the more awareness around it, the better, obviously.
Yeah,
And then you can support your partner through it instead of being on opposite sides with it.
right. And I find
Mm.
I have, just like you, most of my coaching clients are women, and a lot of them are in uh, that time in their lives when they want something more. They either know their kids are going to be growing up, or they really want the extra income, or they want that satisfaction of being more than a wife and a mother. And that can be confusing and hard on a relationship that's had a certain kind of pattern. So yeah, I love that you're bringing this out.
Yeah, because we get caught in patterns, like you said, and like it's just like, if a woman's trying to show up, you know, like you're right, you can lose yourself in like having kids and that sort of thing and lose your identity a bit. So a lot of women that are moving into a business is a new thing for them, new thing for their family. So it is about shifting and changing with that. And it's so much about communication. Like that's why there's a training I do with a lot of clients who go, this is relationship training. Go watch this with your partner. And it's all
Mm,
about communication and how we communicate because, I've been married 17 years, 18 years maybe. But I've been with my wife for 23 years. And, you know, relationships ebb and flow, but if you don't communicate, they really can fall apart quickly. So it's all about communication and because we change all the time. Like you're not the same person you married 20 years ago, and your partner's not the same. So you're always constantly evolving individually, but as well as together. So a lot of what we talk about is communication and making sure that's paramount.
hmm
Because if your relationship's on fire and doing well, everything else is easier.
mm,
If it's not, everything else is harder.
hmm
So it's the most important relationship you have. So it's about really making sure that's looked after as
I
well.
love that. I love that. So I want to see if we can give a little bit of meat on the bones with maybe some steps or bullet points on the topic of either like how you balance business and life, time management strategies, starting your day focused and energized. So somewhere in there, do you have a topic that you can give us kind of like step one, step two, step three?
Yeah. So I think the first step, and this is why I made a journal for my clients, and you can get it
Mm,
on Instagram. But it's about the morning. How you start your morning is so important. And 90, I would say maybe 95% of people, the first thing they do in the morning is they pick their phone up. They grab their phone before they grab their partner. Like it's just grab the phone and they're on Instagram, they're on WhatsApp, they're on email, and you're going straight into a stress response. Like you're going from this beautiful sleep to stress
mm,
and dopamine and everything straight away. So really simply, don't pick up your phone for the first hour. Don't touch your phone. If your alarm's set, yeah, turn your alarm off, obviously. But just simply get up, go to the toilet, drink some water to wake the body up, do a quick meditation, anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, and then do the morning ritual, mine's a bit more detailed, but a really simple one is three things you're grateful for, just writing three things you're grateful for. Gratitude's a powerful way to start the day. What would make today great? Three things. So if these three things happen today, it would be an amazing day because our mind always goes to, oh God, I hope that client turns up, or I hope it doesn't rain. It goes to the negative. We're training it to look for the positive, like, oh, hope I have an amazing shoot with and the three kids are really beautiful to work with, or oh, I've got a sale coming in. I hope it's a $3,000 sale and they pay in full, or I'm going out for dinner with the family. Hope we have a great night, like
mm,
whatever. And if you can tick them off at the end of the day, you go, wow, that was a great day. Like you said, we don't know how many days we've got, so let's make them great. Like that's
mm,
pre-framing what we want. And the last one is your three intentions for the day. What do I need to get done today in the business? And it's not the bookwork, it's not retouching, it's not editing. It's like things that are going to tangibly move the business forward. Okay, I need to reach out to that business to do a promotion with. I need to a marketing, a sales system, a mindset approach, something that's going to actually have benefit. And it could be one, two, or three. But you do that, and you time block those three things in your diary. All right, 10 o'clock, I'm going to do this one, 11 o'clock here, going to have lunch, and then I've got to shoot. And then at last half an hour at the end of the day, I'm going to do this one. And you do that, that's a powerful start to the day. But
absolutely.
you have to do that before you do anything else because, and obviously I work with a lot of women with little kids and stuff, so we play around with what that looks like. But ideally, it's before anything else happens, before any kids get up. That's why I used to get up at 5:30 in the morning because my kids used to get up early, and you get it done. Those two things will take you anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes.
Hmm
And all you have to do is get up 10 to 20 minutes earlier than you normally do, and you'll get way more done. You'll be way more focused. You'll feel way better. You're more energized. That's the simplest thing you can do, but one of the hardest things for people to do because number one, you have to get out of bed earlier. And number two, it's a new habit. And new habits take time to sink in. So you need to commit to doing it for like 30 days and then it becomes easier.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I figured out a little hack for me because I sleep upstairs, and by the time I get downstairs, I can be so full of lots of things that I forget to do that. Like I have to get up and, well, of course, I have to get up. So I have to shower and um, get dressed and get ready, and then get my coffee going, and then I'm kind of in a whirlwind and forgetting those things that while I was still kind of quiet, I was thinking, oh, this would be good for today, and I need to do this. So I started with my phone as I was in that process of just physically getting ready for the day, using my phone to say, uh, hey Siri, set a reminder to blank. And oh, Siri on my phone in the other room just responded, um, asking what I wanted. Oh, she did it again. I better, I won't say the S word. Anyway, I started putting those reminders on my phone, auditory, whatever, using my words. And so then when I get downstairs and I'm ready to do those three things, which I like to put on the little what is it? They have a sticky note program
You know?
Mac that for me it's helpful because
Yeah.
it can be just right there. And then I put those things there so I can refer back. But if I don't somehow capture it while it's whirring into my brain, it's harder to pull it back. Do you have
Mm.
any tricks for?
Well, I think that yeah, and there's actually science behind physically writing stuff out. It
Mhm.
sticks more as well than like typing it or saying it's probably pretty good as well. But the other thing is that um, we want to do is create space in our day for 5 or 10 minutes of
Right,
doing nothing or more, ideally. But like
right.
maybe it's just like sitting out in the sun for 10 minutes. But every part of your body's not going to want to do it because like I'm busy, I need to do, I need to do, I need to do. So stopping, when I tell my clients you got to go, I gave one of my clients homework the other day. She's got to sit down and do nothing for an hour.
Mm,
And she said it was torture.
mm,
But some amazing things happen on the back of it. But we don't, what it's doing is allowing our default mode network, which is in our brain, to activate. And what the default mode network's job is when we're mind wandering or not doing anything or not consciously on our phone or we're just sitting doing nothing, it takes all the thoughts and ideas and things from different parts of the brain and connects them together. So that's when like you're in the shower or you're jogging or running, we get our best ideas because we're
hmm.
not doing anything. So
Right.
putting the time in the day for that. Like if I'm feeling a bit stressed, I need an idea, I'm just stuck, I'll go for a walk for a half an hour
Mm,
with no phone. I think oh, I get some, that's where I get my best ideas. I know it's just letting the brain do its thing, connecting, idea, idea, idea. And all of a sudden you've got stuff happening. And like, but people are always, I haven't got time for that. Anytime you hear yourself, my teacher always said, if you hear yourself say, I haven't got time to meditate, you've got to stop whatever you're doing and meditate right there and then.
mm,
That's her rule.
mm.
Because the brain's way of keeping us busy, keeping us busy, keeping us busy.
There's some quote about I have all the time in the world if I don't rush or something. Have you heard
Mm.
it?
Yeah, and that's the premise of slowing down to speed up. The more I
Right.
slow down, the more success I have, the more I get done, and the more happens.
Yeah.
Where when I was busy and working crazy hours, I was not getting a lot done, and I
Right.
wasn't able to scale. I wasn't able to do what I want to do as a dad and a partner either. It was just a mess. So it's
Mm,
allowing that slowing down that actually gets you to grow. Like love him or hate him, you look at someone like Elon Musk who runs five or six of the biggest companies in the world, and he has the same amount of 1,440 minutes in every day like us, and we're trying to do this one tiny little thing. He operates on a different level, right? And he's he's very efficient with what he does somehow. I don't know. I think he's an alien, but he
He's a
somehow doesn't.
he's
There's
a tr
people like,
he's a tricky reference here in the US. So
yes, I
I don't
know.
know, get somebody else.
That's why I said love him or hate him, because
Yes.
he's very
Okay, missed that
polarizing.
part.
But yeah,
Yeah, but he does.
I know he's
Yeah, he does do more things probably in an hour than a lot of us do in a week. So, yeah, I'm thinking about how
well,
when I am going on vacation, I get so many things done before I leave that I've been wanting to do for months. And the tricky part is coming back from the vacation and then just getting cranked up again to do the things. But yeah.
Well, that's the thing with productivity. When I teach productivity, whatever time you give yourself, that's what you'll get done. So, an example, when I have a new client, they have to come into our group, which is a small group as well, a small Facebook group, and they have to do a quick live video introducing themselves, right? And people hate doing live videos, and it's part of the process is to get out of your comfort zone. So we used to say, all right, you got to do it this week, right?
Hmm.
Everyone would do it on the last day of that week, and they'd do it in the last little time. So we changed it and said, all right, you've got an hour. You got to do it in the next hour, and everyone does it the next hour. So they get it done, and then they don't have to worry about it all week. So what we do is things we don't want to do, we put off to the last minute,
Hmm.
and but it's staying in our brain, right? Staying in that, oh, I've got to do that, got to do that, even unconsciously. So it takes up space. So it's about doing these things in a time frame. So
Right.
you're going on holidays. You got to get all this shit done before holidays, so you get it done.
Right. Right.
Mm.
I so relate to like so many times I do something that I've been worrying about, and what you just said took up space in my head for days or weeks, or like taxes is one of those things that, especially now
Yeah.
with the tools where I don't have to have things physically copied and circled, having online accounting and so forth of my business stuff that takes me so much less time than all the time that I put it off and get because I don't do the accounting. I just give it to
Yeah.
my accountant. But the anxiety is such an energy drain. And then when I get it done, I think, gosh, that was pretty fast. So
Yeah. But
have you
yeah, like, sorry,
have you ever
yeah.
heard of the Kolbe test, Kolbe?
No.
Okay, I would recommend you look into that and take the test and study it. It's my coach that I had for 3 years um, helped me with that. And then my coaching clients, I have them take it. It measures how you get things done and not your personality type or if you're, a leader or anything, but just how your mind and how your body works. And what I discovered for me is that I'm high in what's called the quick start. There's four categories, and we go 1 to 10 on each of the four, which means I'm always full of next ideas, new things, um, like things swirling, swirling, swirling around. And
Yeah.
and I'm someone that can take a leap without having all the details in place. Um, and what my coach trained me to do is to every quarter or every month figure out what are the 2 or 3 things that I'm going to accomplish, what are the steps. And so when my mind comes up with new things, I can say to it, thanks for sharing. I'm going to write this down. Right now, I'm working on this. And when I accomplish that, we can look at that. And it's been a huge help for me. Some people might call it ADHD, and I don't know if it's in that category or just some other thing. It also
Well,
helped me stop feeling guilty or confused that I've accomplished a lot without having everything in place that I thought I should have. Because for me, if everything's too organized, it's almost like a weight. And it also shows me where I need help, that's a whole other conversation that we could have about outsourcing
Yeah.
and such. So
But I think
very powerful.
it is. And I think yeah, it's interesting how we talk to ourselves and you just use the word how you went through it. It's like when we think we should have done this, when we use the word should, it's usually making ourselves wrong. We're putting
Oh
guilt
yeah.
or shame onto what we have or haven't done. And, as creatives, like it's a high percentage of people who do have ADHD tendencies, right? Which is
Mhm.
it's that shiny object syndrome. It's that creative, like, oh, over here, I want to do. You want to do all these things, and we never move the needle on anything. So it's a really great concept to understand how our mind works, how we do on the Colby test. I'll check it out for sure, and what strategies are going to work for you
Right.
personally,
Right.
because we're all different, right?
Right. And
And if
I found that like if one of my coaching clients is high on uh the the doing, there's okay, now I'm not pulling it up completely, but there's like research, strategizing, the quick start imagination, and then the doing. And so if
the
someone,
implementation.
yeah, so if someone is high on that last one, that tells me that we need a kind of strategy where we can lean into that strength. And it's a different like I used to assume that everyone was like me because I didn't know that there were different uh, ways that people's brains work to get things accomplished. And
Mm,
or I used to make myself wrong because certain things are not as officially organized, but a perfectly neat, organized space makes me feel a little bit like bored and less stimulated. Some people need that. So yeah, it's a really interesting, like life-changing
mm.
program for me. So yeah, people can check that out.
I'll check.
It's like
Yeah.
$49 to take the test, and there's a book and there's websites and other ways to research it. So we are almost out of time, my friend. So I have two questions, unless did I cut you off on any
No, go for it.
there? Okay. So number one, I know you have something that you want to offer my guests. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
would that
I
be?
think like we talked about, I'm happy to I like to connect with photographers all the time, obviously. And so, if people want to check out Instagram and DM me and I'll give away two free 30-minute coaching calls to dive into any of the mindset stuff to, if they're curious about it, just DM me. Just right, hey, heard you on Lucy's podcast. That would be fine. It's just Johl Dunn on Instagram, which is JOHLDUNN. It's spelt a
Okay.
bit different. Yes.
And if it's 6 months from now and somebody is listening to that, should they still check out and see if you have one available for that month?
Yeah, definitely DM me because I offer we have openings every month for them with different things we're doing. So sometimes that we could put them on a wait list if we don't. But yeah, definitely can
Great.
reach out.
Great.
Yeah.
And your website is jdmindsetcoaching.com.au. Is that right?
I think that yeah, that's one of them. I think it'll just go to, but it's joeldunn.com is I think they both go to the same one.
Okay. Cool,
We're
cool.
actually in the process of redoing our website, but yeah, joeldunn.com is probably the best way for the website as well. But we're,
Great.
we're always updating Insta. That's probably the place to go for tools and tips and always trying to put little tips for clients and photographers up there. So that's good to follow along with as
Awesome.
well.
Okay. So I like to give my guests an opportunity to either share something that they think, oh, I wish I had mentioned this something, or just give us your parting thoughts, what you want us to take away. So, what do you got?
Um, Good question. Well, I guess I got a jumper on at the moment, and we put on the back of this jumper. It's for clients for our retreats, but it's the quote that I sort of came up with for the retreat at the time was, and I think it's really relevant, is you are the main character of your story. You get to decide how it's written.
Mm,
So what the whole premise of the retreats were, it was about. you're the main character. So you get to decide what happens in your life and take control of that. And that's why mindset's so powerful because you're taming your mind to work for you, not against you. And that's, I just want people to understand that they're way more in control than they think they are when
Hmm.
you really tap in and understand what potential you have. Because most people think their potential's here, but it's actually way up here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
there's a big gap in what people can actually achieve when we get rid of some of these blocks and limiting beliefs they have about what they're capable of. Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
what I'd like to leave.
I love
Be
it.
your main character.
Be the main character in your story. Love that. So, everyone, stay tuned after I say adieu to Mr. Dunn for my little quick wrap up. Joel, gosh, once again, you've been inspiring and so easy to talk to, and just have such a wealth of practical, but also woo-woo motivational thoughts. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Appreciate you having me on again. And yeah, I love talking to like-minded industry professionals. And yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Ooh, I do love these conversations about the woo-woo aspect of success, and how it all really connects. It's not uh, okay, we run our business, you know, in a left-brained, detailed way, or we meditate and do all the mindset things. It even if we don't know that we're doing it, we are always using our mindset. And so finding that place where we can use it, we can be mindful so that instead of relying on what our kind of monkey mind is telling us, we can we can change our thoughts. Ernest Holmes is one of my teachers. I don't know when he passed away, but I study him, and he always says, change your thinking, change your life. So I love Johl Dunn and him talking about how to meditate and um, why slowing down and being more focused actually makes us more productive. We talked about burnout and self-sabotage and how to avoid that. And one of the big issues, one of the big things to focus on is gratitude. If that's all that we do in a day is in the morning, make a gratitude list, that is a good start for change. So he gave us a couple of tips for what to do in the morning. Number one is not to touch your phone for an hour, other than to turn the alarm off. Number two, sit down and write three things we're grateful for, and then what would make our day great. And then come up with three intentions, three action steps that we intend to do this day. And I love what he said. The final thing is that we are the main character of our story. You are the main character of your story. You get to decide how your story is written. So, love to have you go to lucydumascoaching.com if you want a quick 20-minute chat. That would be great. No pressure. And keep listening. And please subscribe and please share this with your friends. Bye.